There are hundreds of families in the Peppa Pig universe, but there are many others that you have never seen. Do you think you know all the hidden families in the Little Piggies cartoon?
Peppa Pig.
Sheep. Where are the male relatives of Susie Sheep? Her father has never appeared in the series, but her grandfather hasn't either. And yes, you might think that both of them are no longer alive and that this happens in many families, but this detail is still something strange. Peppa is a little pig who has traveled to many places around the world. Do you know what she didn't find? Other sheep. None of them, let alone male sheep. It's almost certain that they don't even exist in the Little Pigs universe. And that is very strange, don't you agree? Still talking about Susie's family, we know that she has a cousin named Charlotte. That means the little sheep has at least one aunt, who must be Mrs. Sheep's sister, Susie's mother. Where is Aunt Sheep? Even though her daughter appears in some episodes, the series has never shown this character. Will she ever appear? If you want to find out the answer to this and much more, you already know, right? Another Cinewave is starting. Pigs. Of course, one of the groups that raises the most questions among fans is the protagonists. There are members of Peppa's family who need to appear in the series, and you know who they are. Where are Peppa's paternal grandparents and Aunt Pig's family? Let's start with the grandparents. You know that most of the pink little pig's relatives came from Mummy Pig's side of the family. The grandparents and Aunt Dottie are the most well-known ones. But where is Daddy Pig's family? Besides Peppa, George, and Evie, who are his children, Daddy Pig only has his brother as a direct relative. Peppa's grandparents on her father's side have never appeared in the cartoon, and no one has ever talked about them. And we still have to find out where the other pigs in the cartoon are, starting with Aunt Pig's family. Have you noticed that this character is the only little pig who did not come from either the father's or the mother's side of the protagonist's family? In other words, she could only have come from another group of pigs that we have never seen. But what is the truth behind this family? We may find out in new episodes. Rabbits. Of course we are going to talk about the rabbits. There is a very important question about this family. What happened to Granny Rabbit? We know that she exists because she is the mother of Miss Rabbit and Mrs. Rabbit as well. She was probably the one who gave birth to all the versions of the character who works the most in this universe. But where is she? And if she is no longer alive, why has no one ever talked about her? This character is very important because she was the one who brought into the world the most powerful character in this universe, which is Miss Rabbit. Grandpa Pig mentioned in the episode Sea Treasure that he is approximately 100 years old. That shouldn't be very different from Granny Rabbit, but where could she be? Cows. You probably know all the theories about Carol Cow, that character who is Peppa's age and does not study with the little pig. Even though she appears in several episodes of the series, Carol Cow did not even appear at her mother's wedding to Mr. Bull, and this is a big mystery in the series. Where is she? One big theory is that she went to live with her aunt in the city of New York, since she appears walking around Times Square in the episode where Peppa goes to visit the city. Could that be why she didn't go to the wedding? She probably couldn't afford the ticket. More rabbits. There is another family we need to talk about. Where are Mr. Rabbit's relatives? This character is the husband of Rebecca's mother, one of Peppa's best friends. We could have talked about him when the conversation was about the other side of the rabbit family, but it is important to separate the topics because Rebecca's father is also a rabbit. And what does that mean? It's simple. This is proof that his family must be just as big as his wife's group. They should be many, but they have never appeared. It's as if he had no parents, siblings, or cousins, and that detail is super strange, don't you agree? And for you who made it this far, we have a special invitation. Click the join button down below and become part of our exclusive group of subscribers. We have 3 plans for you to choose from. You can become a Wave Fund member and use our badges on your profile and special emojis in the channel's video comments. Or you can become a Wave Plus member and get early access to our videos and priority replies in the comments. But if you want access to our exclusive members-only videos and polls, you can become a Wave Max member. Starting at $2.99, you can become the newest member of Cinewave. Click now and get even closer to us. Gazelle. In the episode about Madame Gazelle's house, we see that there is a photo of a male character from the same species as Peppa's teacher. Mr. Gazelle is known as her husband, but unfortunately, he has never appeared in the cartoon. There are many theories about this, but one of the most famous is that he is sleeping in a coffin. Calm down, it's not what you're thinking. It is almost certain that Mr. Gazelle is a vampire, just like his wife, and as you already know, vampires sleep in coffins. It is very possible that that he goes out at night to feed, but it is strange to think that there is a creepy character living in Madame Gazelle's basement, don't you think? Potato. Have you ever wanted to meet Mr. Potato's family? Could he have a Mrs. Potato? A little potato child, maybe. That would be very cute, and he could study together with Peppa. Mr. Potato is one of the most mysterious characters in the cartoon, simply because he is a talking vegetable almost 6 feet tall. We need to know if there is a potato family, or if he is a scientific experiment created in a laboratory. This is another strong theory about this character. It would be very interesting to discover a bit more about all the vegetables in Peppa's world, and hopefully the show's production will answer our questions. Royal family. There is also another family that has never appeared in the cartoon, and we are talking about the Queen's relatives. You know that this character is a reference to Queen Elizabeth II, and because of that, we can imagine that her other relatives would be adapted into the series. But since, unfortunately, the Queen passed away, the character disappeared from the cartoon, which makes us think that the world of Peppa will adapt her son, King Charles, into the series. What's curious is that Evie Pig, the third daughter of the pig couple, was born in the same hospital as the Princes of England in the real world. Will we ever see all of them together? Wolves. Now we have to talk about a sensitive detail. Mr. Wolf's family. This character is, without a doubt, one of the most dangerous in the cartoon, because he has always made it very clear that he wants to devour Daddy Pig and the entire Peppa family. The show's production created him as a reference to the story of the 3 little pigs. That is why his family is a dangerous detail, because we have never met a Grandpa Wolf. Where could this character be? You know that wolves are animals that move together in large hunting groups. They hunt sheep, pigs, and other animals. Mr. Wolf's father must be a great villain. Will we ever get to meet him someday? Crocodile. The same thing can be said about Mrs. Crocodile's family. She is the only one of her species in the cartoon, the only one who is not a mammal like all the others. That is because in Peppa's world, cities were made for mammals, just like in Zootopia. That is why everyone would like to find out where the other crocodiles ended up. Does she have any brothers or sisters? And let's make it clear that we all know they are dangerous, since Madame Gazelle gets scared of her in the episode about the zoo. Do they live under the city lake? There's a new video here every day, so subscribe and hit the bell to stay up to date. Pony. Ponies are animals we would like to get to know better. Pedro's family needs to appear more in the series, especially because Peppa's future boyfriend is a pretty crazy kid, don't you think? He was dressed as a superhero in the gym class episode, and he is always late. The family members we do not know are his grandparents, and the joke is that they are probably late to appear in the series, because just like their grandson, they never arrive on time. Not to mention that it would be interesting to see how the other grandpas and grandmas would welcome Pedro's grandparents. You know that Grandpa Pig likes to go boating with his friends Grandpa Rabbit and Grandpa Dog. We think one more is missing from that club. What do you think about that? Maybe Grandpa Pony could teach the kids how to be a real cowboy, which is a game Pedro seems to enjoy. Foxes. Speaking of grandpas, where are Mr. Fox's parents? These two characters might be forbidden in the production of the series. And you know the reason, right? Freddy Fox's father is one of the biggest villains in the cartoon. He has already robbed all the characters in the series, and he may have learned that from his own father, Grandpa Fox. That must be why Freddy wants to be a police officer. He does not want to continue the family tradition, if you know what we mean. That is why his grandfather might be a forbidden character. He could have been in prison all these years. What do you think about that? Pirate. Now we are going to talk about a somewhat unusual family, but one that everyone knows is, yes, a family. Captain Redbeard's pirate crew. Everyone knows that a pirate ship's crew is like a family. These characters travel across the sea collecting treasures, fighting battles, and living all kinds of adventures. That is why it is very strange that Redbeard appears as a lone character in every episode he has been in. Did he get separated from his friends? Maybe the ship sank and they all lost their lives. That would be terrible, don't you agree? Hopefully that is not the truth. But if it is, Redbeard urgently needs a new crew. Would you be part of this adventure? You could sail across all the oceans and maybe even take Peppa along. Narrator. One thing everyone has always wanted to know is whether the narrator of the series is one of the characters or a human watching from the outside, but he certainly has a family. It would be interesting to know that, in fact, the narrator is telling Peppa's story to someone. This group of people must certainly be his family, don't you think? But if our theory is correct, we will only discover this in the very last episode of the series, because it is impossible for the show show's production to reveal this secret before then. It seems like the kind of surprise that is saved for the ending, don't you agree? Cat. Another family that could appear a bit more is the hidden relatives of Candy Cat. She is the only child of Mr. and Mrs. Cat, even though everyone knows that felines usually have many kittens. She has no uncles or cousins, and that does not make much sense. We could see her grandparents and maybe get an answer about Mr. Cat's color change, since sometimes he is orange and sometimes he is brown. Elephant. In the episode Moving Day, we discover that Emily Elephant and her brother Edmund have a grandmother. She lived in an apartment in the city center but decided to move. The question that remains is, where is Grandpa Elephant? He disappeared. He is nowhere to be found, and his existence in the series could explain why Edmund is a genius, since the other family members do not seem to be that intelligent. Grandpa Elephant could be a genius like his grandson, don't you think? It's a shame that this character has never been shown, but until the day he appears, you can stay here with us.
We've left 2 videos on your screen so you can choose and keep having fun with us. See you in the next video!